on what issue is each of the parties disobedient. Should they all be vegetarians? Maybe. Okay. Should they all be celibates? Well, that's very possible. Very well possible. Should they give up on doing it for the money? Could also be true, but it is not to psychology to state that. The question for behavioral science is, in what way would the time system of their conditionings fail to make peace as it should with the one God they have? So let's take a look at what the leaders have to say. In science, I may represent a point of view, like a religious view, if I correctly refer and not claim the control for it myself. So Jesus said, do it on earth as in heaven, and that he said in the Lord's Prayer. And that's point one. Christianity doesn't really do this, setting the clock and the calendar to the money and not to nature. Christians definitely do it with standard time, not completely on earth as it is in heaven. That's a clear thing. The dates and months are leaped, but not the days and the weeks. There we have the disobedience we talked about, and it concerns the conditioning time system. And now Islam. Muhammad said, do the pure sun and the pure moon, pure nature. That's the will of God, will of Allah, prayer times. Point two is, though, with Islam, that even though the Muslim respects the sun with his prayer times and the moon with the fasting for a month, outside of that, outside the mosque with the crescent moon on top, so to say, they defy the Prophet submitting themselves to standard time. Standard time settlements the same way as Christians do that. So they just as well submit for their daily activities to this reductionist and materialistic concept of commercial time management, which by the politicians is called a pragmatic necessity. What they really say then is warfare and its madness of collective self-destruction is pragmatic. It comes handy. It might make a buck. And listen carefully, both the parties are saying this. Wow. So that's interesting, isn't it? So they have the same clock and the same calendar. They have mean time and zone time, and together with the Gregorian calendar with its linear weeks, they both defy the commands of their lordships, of Muhammad and Jesus. This they have in common, that is sure. The week is not leaped. The day is not leaped. It is not the pure natural time of Allah. It is not to the words of the Prophet, isn't it? So, nor is it to the heavenly pattern of the Father as Jesus advises to pray. So we cannot say that we are one or obedient. We are in conflict, being disobedient with our own spiritual masters or leaders or lordships or prophets. The moon is forgotten, and the sun scorches the planet dry with commercial energy philosophies which need to be overhauled by sustainable energy technologies. So I was discussing this in other videos. I will not go into this now. But Christianity, as for time, by means of Pope Gregory, abandoned the respect for the lunar order, the so-called Ides and Calends, as it in the old days was called, full moon, new moon. For the monasterial rule at the end of the Middle Ages was abandoned. The Pope himself abandoned that. It was abandoned earlier by the Roman Emperor in 325, I believe. And that was the collapse of the Roman Empire, and Christianity rose then. But in the monasteries, the original lunar order was projected on the solar calendar, the Julian calendar still maintained, but that was abolished by the Pope. So he also did his share of denying the natural order of time. And so you can blame everyone in this, but is that the right course? You can also speak about Islam. Islam has the crescent moon as its symbol, but they prefer nevertheless the linear weeks for civil purposes, material purposes by which they defy the natural order of the moon. Iraq is a time zone island. It's not to the sundial. The time zone was introduced in America. They follow against the natural order of the sundial, and at the present time they fight America, blaming them for the original sin they commit themselves. So it's not really conscious. It's a tragedy of the unconscious in psychoanalytic terms. So we do not call this a mature understanding. It is not emancipated. It is not self-responsible to what actually is the lead in our lives according the Prophet and according Jesus. Fix yourselves on the natural order and everything will be okay. But we don't do this. So, in conclusion, both religions, we can say, defy the order, the natural order of time, of the sun and the moon. So, right? Both do it the same way, isn't it? Christianity and Islam have standard time in common. So, they have in common that which is in defiance of their own original leaders. Standard time is the devil, to speak in their own words. Not the religiousness itself, but the projection and the unconscious state of ignorance of the people involved is what the real problem is. The cultures blame each other for being godless and barbaric. So, does that ring a bell with you personally? The common cultural defiance of the natural order of time is the error in common. It is a constant error in terms of behavioral science, and whatever the religions do without refuting standard time is futile, right? Let behavioral science take care of overhauling these societal institutions, that are so powerful and so dangerous. And now you as a listener, personally take some real time, some natural time, and do so being regular with the sun and the moon. And then think about what you can do about this international conflict yourself. Better the world and begin with yourselves. Okay? Is that right with us? I thank you for your attention.